Breaking news right now, President Trump is at MetLife Stadium. He's attending the FIFA Club World Cup. NewsNation is also learning Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, is joining President Trump at the soccer game. Witkoff is planning to meet with senior Qataris on the sidelines. Also, when asked by reporters about a possible Gaza ceasefire, he said he's hopeful. Good afternoon. I'm Nick Smith in for Anna Koyman in New York. It's time for NewsNation Now. The world's top soccer clubs are facing off in New Jersey. Chelsea's FC is taking on PSG in the FIFA Club World Cup, but also making an appearance to today's game, President Trump. He's there. This will give him a first-hand look at a major world tournament before the FIFA World Cup hits North American shores next year. Mr. Trump is no stranger with attending sporting events. Since taking office, he's attended the Super Bowl in New Orleans, the Daytona 500 in Florida, UFC fights in Miami and Newark, New Jersey, and the NCAA Wrestling Championship in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. With me now is New Jersey State Senator John Bramnick, who is also a candidate for governor. John, good afternoon. What is the significance of Mr. Trump attending today's game?
Well, a couple things. First, soccer and in New Jersey, having any attention to MetLife Stadium and having a president there, that's all good. We'll start with that. It's also, and unfortunately, it's an anniversary of when they tried to assassinate the president. So that brought a lot of attention, bad attention, but still, he's today, instead of sitting around, he's at a soccer game. And as you said, you know, he's a sports fan, and America's a sports country. They love their sports. So for New Jersey, and you remember, he is a Jersey guy. He's in Bedminster playing golf maybe a third of the year. So look, when a president comes to New Jersey, you know, whether people like him or dislike him, whatever, you know, it's good for the sport. It's good for the state.
John, I do want to ask you one quick question, though. Also, it's one of those things where we've seen a lot of attention focused on this Secret Service report. You've had a chance to take a look at that. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, everyone held the Secret Service in the highest regard. Anybody could get on top of a building and have the view that this would-be assassin had. We know there's serious mistakes. So hopefully this is a one-time mistake. It will never happen again. But it's really sad because the reputation of the Secret Service was severely affected as a result of that assassination attempt. And it's sad because Secret Service has always been like the platinum standard.
John Bramnick, I want to thank you again for taking time to join us this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Tornado flash flood warnings have been lifted by the city of Kerrville, but recovery efforts remain suspended in some areas of central Texas due to rain. Flood-ravaged communities are still recovering from last week's catastrophic deadly flooding. A flash flood warning is in place for parts of central Texas. The region could see 2 to 4 inches of rain per hour. Officials tell NewsNation last weekend's flood already killed at least 129 people. NewsNation correspondent Jorge Ventura is live on the ground in Kerrville. Jorge, good afternoon. What's happening right now where you are?
Well, Nick, some good news for the search crews out here because we do not have any rain and those flash flood warnings have been lifted in this area of Kerrville, which is very key because these search crews and the thousands of volunteers, the number one goal is to continue to go through those piles of debris, patrolling the Guadalupe River, just looking for any bodies to make a recovery. Earlier this morning, we did have that heavy rain. We had it actually when we were doing our live hit with Morning in America, and we could just feel it pounding, and that's when those search teams, those efforts were then suspended. But the flash flood warning has been lifted, so some good news. Those teams could go back out and continue the work. The crews here have just been dealing with the conditions, either from the heat from earlier the week, but now the rain was starting to come in, so some of that heavy machinery couldn't operate. But what was very powerful, Nick, right behind me is the memorial here, is during that flash flood warning, when that rain was really coming down, our producer, Denise Gomez, capturing really a powerful moment of a man actually leaving these 2 wooden crosses right there and just wanting to honor and pay homage. We can actually see some of the people that are visiting here and paying their respects are now praying together. They're hugging, they're dropping off flowers. Some of the signs you could see say Hill Country Strong, River of Angels. Lots of toys being dropped off for the many children that lost their lives on July 4th. While we were also here at the memorial, we did speak with a woman named Michelle McGuire. She was a Hunt resident. That's where Camp Mystic is. She is a survivor, and she says that it was prayer and her faith that kept her alive in those crucial moments when her whole home was flooded. Take a listen to some of those terrifying moments as she tells News Nation.
A guy walked by. He was with the volunteer fire department. He asked me if I was hurt. And I said, no, but I'm in a tree. And he said, sit tight. We're going to go help the neighbors. They were up higher on a roof, and they had kids, and he got them down. And, you know, I'm just, like I said, I'm Team JC. I always have been. And he's got me here for a reason. And I'm just so thankful, you know, for this community. And they've reached out. You know, I don't want for anything I've closed. I have a place to stay. I still have a job. I have transportation, and, you know, now it's all about giving back.
Michelle, they're giving credit to the first responders who risked their lives to save her. We continue to hear these amazing stories of the volunteer firefighters. They're not getting paid anything, and they're risking their lives for the community out here day and night, not complaining about the conditions, just want to assist the families. Yesterday, Nick, we were also embedded with Centerpoint Fire Department, just kind of going through the debris, and they say they still have a lot of work to do. We got to see some of the diver teams going into the river, just trying to look for bodies, and the weather is a big factor when it comes to this search operation. So it's good news for the teams here. The rain has stopped, flash flood warning has been lifted, and they can continue to do that work, Nick.
And Jorge, I think that everyone would benefit from seeing Michelle McGuire's full interview, which will be posted on NewsNationNow.com. Jorge, thank you so much, live from Texas. I want to bring in two local residents of Kerrville, Texas, who lost their home and business due to the floods, Jack and Jennifer Hudson. Jack, Jennifer, thank you so much for taking time with us this afternoon. I know you're dealing with a lot, and your time means so much to us. But I do want to ask Jennifer, I'm sorry for what you've lost, but glad that you're safe. Can you tell me about what the past few days have been like for you and your family?
Well, we are filled with gratitude that we survived, and we feel so blessed that so many people have come in every direction to help. They've helped with boots on the ground, helping to remove all the things out of our home and dig the mud out. People have brought us food and clothing and shoes. We lost everything. And then we've had so much help with people with our GoFundMe and different things like that. And it's just made such a difference. And the prayer, we are so grateful for the prayer. And we were able to survive with our pets. And we stood in the water for over an hour. On our porch, we got out of the house with 4 feet of water, and everything was floating and coming with the current. A door broke, and the current was like 100 miles an hour with everything floating and crashing around. And we climbed out a window because you couldn't open a door. And then now we're in the Guadalupe River and not in our house, on our porch. And thankfully, most of the big stuff had already floated through, and we didn't get hit or knocked off of the porch. And we stood on a 2.5-foot rock wall hanging on to a post on our porch. Each of us had a post holding our dogs. I had the little dog. Jack had a 120-pound dog. That's a Great Dane, a German Shepherd. And we clung there for over an hour. And people say, until you were rescued? And we said, no, till the water went down. And thank God it did go down at dawn. And
Jennifer, I'm looking at your pictures there. I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm looking at your pictures and I'm just blown away. You're covered in mud. I'm seeing Jack standing in the river. I'm looking at your home, everything upside down, your sofa. I'm looking at parts of the home just totally collapsed, I'm guessing, under the weight and the force. I'm seeing Jack there seemed to have just a moment of levity there, Jack, where you were able, you're like, listen, I got to laugh, I got to smile or something there. But Jennifer, you are so composed. It's clearly you're leaning into your faith.
Absolutely, by the grace of God. And I'm going to be, I don't know what I'm going to write, but it's going to be called By the Grace of God, because we've been blessed. You have to emotionally disconnect from the stuff. And as you can see in the pictures, all of our stuff was everywhere. But that's not our focus. Our focus is on the people, the blessings of all the help. In every direction, we have received help, and it restores your faith in human kindness and generosity. People have brought us food. People brought us dog food for our dogs that survived, and the care and the concern. we're just so blessed.
Jack, I was about to say, Jack, you hear the strength in in Jennifer's voice there. You're not surprised by this at all.
Not at all. She's been wonderful. We've lost our home and our business and our means of making a living.
Yeah, it's our business.
So we've got to put it all back together one way or another and come back strong.
And we will.
And you will. Jack, Jennifer, Hudson, I want to thank you both for joining us this afternoon. The resolve is clear. I have every reason to believe that you all also know Michelle McGuire, that she talked about how it's just a community, how everybody knows each other. From the team here at News Nation, we are sending you our prayers and thoughts, guys.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing your story. Moving on to the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She says she's in talks to build additional migrant detention facilities. News Nation's Mills Hayes joins us with the latest. Mills, good afternoon. What are you learning about these facilities and when they could be built?
Hi, Nick. Well, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says she's in talks with 5 other Republican-led states. As you mentioned, she hasn't said which states, but she says that they've been in talks to build detention sites inspired by Alligator Alcatraz, and she wants to double the capacity in ICE detention centers as, of course, the administration ramps up deportations. But the facility in Texas, it's facing tough criticism. Democrats calling the conditions of detained migrants inhumane. Members of Congress and state representatives were given a tour on Saturday to inspect the conditions at the facility in the Everglades, and this was just 2 days after lawmakers filed a lawsuit against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for being, quote, unlawfully denied entry. But after a limited tour this weekend, Democratic lawmakers described the detention center as crowded, unsanitary, and bug-infested. Democrats describe cage-style units with 32 men inside sharing 3 combination toilet sink devices with a temperature at 83 degrees Fahrenheit. But Republicans on the same tour described the detention center very differently. They say it was clean and well-functioning. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said any issues that were there have all been addressed.
We will take cameras in there and show people what these facilities look like, because if you compare them to what happened under the Biden administration and under the Obama administration, these centers are at the highest levels, and they're even higher than what our federal prison standards are.
Noem says detention centers at the federal level are held to a higher standard than most local, state, and federal prisons, pushing back on the criticism of Alligator Alcatraz. Noem said that she would not call where the migrants are being held jail cells. Nick?
News Nation's Mills Hayes with the latest. Mills, thank you so much. The Kerrville food and flood watch has been lifted, but several parts of Texas still getting hit with storms, leaving them under a flood warning. We'll bring you the latest from the ground in Texas. Plus, 1 year since the assassination attempt of President Trump, as the Senate releases a new report on the errors that occurred. We'll break it all down with someone who served on the Secret Service after the break.
Honey, your mouth and eyes are moving again.
Really?
Yeah. Let's go talk to your doctor. We learned the uncontrollable movements are called tardive dyskinesia, or TD, and were caused by Derek's mental health medications. Derek was prescribed Austedo XR, a once-daily extended-release pill for adults. Austedo XR can significantly reduce TD movements, with some seeing a response as early as 2 weeks. And he can stay on his mental health medications.
Austedo XR can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, or have suicidal thoughts. Don't take if you have liver problems, are taking Reserpine, Tetrabenazine, or Valbenazine. Austedo XR may cause irregular or fast heartbeat or abnormal movements. Seek help for fever, stiff muscles, problems thinking or sweating. Common side effects include inflammation of the nose and throat, insomnia, and sleepiness.
If you see TD, ask about Austedo XR.
It's Pod's last sale of the summer. Save up to 25% on moving and storage until July 21st. And see why Pods is the most awarded container moving company. But don't wait. Book now and save up to 25% at pods.com. Years of hard work. Decades of dedication. Committed to giving back. You've been there, done that, and you're still here for more. So now that you're 50 or older and at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia and IPD, be proactive with Capvaxive.
a vaccine specifically designed for adults to help protect against pneumonia, an invasive disease caused by certain types of pneumococcal bacteria. Capvaxive is the only vaccine that helps protect against the strains that cause 84% of IPD in adults 50 or older, compared with up to 52% by other pneumococcal conjugate vaccines. Don't get Capvaxive if you're allergic to the vaccine or its ingredients. Tell your doctor if you have a weakened immune system. Common side effects include injection site reactions, feeling tired, headache, muscle aches, and fever. Whether you've had another pneumococcal vaccine or not, ask your doctor or pharmacist about Capvaxive.
Nice going, Lou. Nothing like a little confidence boost to help ease you back into the dating scene. Of course, that also includes having a smile you feel good about. Fortunately, Aspen Dental specializes in dentures and implants made just for you. And with affordable options and flexible ways to pay, you can get quality work for a price that fits your budget. Right now, get 25% off dentures and implants, helping our patients put their best smile forward. It's one more way Aspen Dental is in your corner.
And the breakthrough odd-chain essential fatty acid in Fatty 15 works to keep you healthier longer. Exactly. This critical nutrient provides long-term whole-body wellness you can feel. Nerd out with us at fatty15.com.
Why is it so hard to find comfort and support in one bra? This is Honeylove's best-selling crossover bra. It doesn't have an underwire. It has this boning on the side that makes it supportive but still moves with me. It's the perfect bra for tight shirts, dresses, and even button-down tops. I wanted something that's weightless and smoothing but still supportive. And it's actually comfortable enough to hang out in all day. Trust me when I say your search for the perfect bra is over. Try risk-free at honeylove.com.
You might take something for your heart. You might get support for your joints, or even use something for your digestion. So why wouldn't you take something for the most important part of you? Your brain. People all over the country take Prevagen for their brain. In fact, Prevagen has been the #1 selling brain supplement nationwide for over 10 years. The most important supplement for the most important part of you. Try Prevagen for your brain today.
Veteran experience.
We're going to be hard to beat.
Squares off with rookie swagger. Live from Dover.
Man, these guys are just out of control.
The NASCAR Xfinity Series. This Saturday live at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on the CW.
17 minutes after the hour, Vice President J.D. Vance and his family spotted on a weekend trip to Disneyland. The VP's trip drawing some unwanted attention from protesters on Saturday. Demonstrators gathering outside the theme park this weekend amid the Trump administration's immigration crackdown in California. The governor taking a swipe at Vance on social media. In a post, Newsom says, "Hope you enjoy your family time. The families you're tearing apart certainly won't." Governor Newsom's post follows a ruling from a federal judge ordering the Trump administration to end the indiscriminate arrest of migrants in California ICE raids. This as we mark 1 year since the Trump assassination attempt and the security failures there.
Take a look at what happened.
One firefighter named Corey Comparator was killed while Trump's ear bled from the assassination attempt at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The incident drawing scrutiny over Secret Service. The new Senate report accusing the agency for failing to stop the attempt, calling it a cascade of preventable failures. 6 agents are appealing their suspension over their conduct during the shooting. The effort to kill then presidential candidate Trump has us reflecting on the country's history. Here's a look through the years of presidential assassinations and those attempts. 4 former presidents killed while in office: Abraham Lincoln in 1865, James Garfield in 1881, William McKinley in 1901, and JFK in 1963. And there have been close calls. Former President Theodore Roosevelt was shot in the chest in a 1912 campaign trail. Ronald Reagan in 1981 survived after a gunman shot 6 bullets at him outside a Washington hotel. Here now is Charles Marino, author of Terrorists on the Border in Our Country and the CEO of Sentinel Security Solutions. He's also a former Secret Service special agent. Charles, good afternoon. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing well. There are so many things I want to talk to you about, particularly as we reflect on Mr. Trump 1 year ago. I know that you've had an opportunity to see and review this report. What are your thoughts? Do you believe that the right steps have been taken?
Well, they're in process and being implemented by the new leadership of the Secret Service. But what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, was a cascade of failures, which the Senate report accurately captures. It began with inept security planning for the overall event, and that exposed all of these other failures. You know, the Secret Service team on the ground there that day really abandoned almost every best practice that the Secret Service has instituted over the last several decades.
And Chuck, you just mentioned how poor planning was at the center of all of this there. And you and I have both followed a chain of command. Are these agents being used as scapegoats, or do you believe that they have accountability?
Yeah, I think the agency needed to be looked at in totality. This was a leadership problem. I think under the Biden administration, we had seen standards lowered within the Secret Service in accordance to a dedication to DEI programs. We know that the workforce was overworked due to high turnover through retirements and resignations, and everything is impacted to include training when you're in that type of scenario. The other thing, too, and this falls squarely on the leadership at the time, is why, based on the threat level specific to the president, why weren't the appropriate resources being given to match the overall threat level?
And Chuck, since the attack a year ago, it seems that threats against public figures have become more common and persistent. What can be done to limit the amount of political threats and violence both sides of the aisle seem to be facing right now?
Well, you know, the failure in Butler was ultimately the security plan to prevent the would-be assassin from being able to carry out an attack. Now, some of these threats, whether we're talking about the president of the United States or a CEO of a company, can get picked up on the front end through sound protective intelligence programs. But in this case, crooks wouldn't have come through that, since it appears he acted alone and in isolation, a lone wolf, if you would. So you've got to have redundancy in protections. That's also site security, it's personal protection, but you've got to have the intelligence program up and running in the event that you can pick up on this this adverse intelligence and you know, find somebody that may want to do harm against your principal in advance of actually being able to carry out an attack.
And Chuck, both sides of the aisle have talked about bringing down the temperature, but just today, Governor Newsom tweeted and talked about, hey, Mr. J.D. Vance, I hope that you're able to enjoy time with your family, because those who are ICE families are not able to. Drawing attention that Mr. Vance, the vice president, is at Disney right now. It seems to me that this only heightens maybe the security threat around the VP.
Well, it does, and it's too much, and you know, we see it from all sides. Unfortunately, it needs to be toned down. What these officials don't realize is where their words land, and sometimes their words land on the ears of people that are not entirely stable mentally, and they interpret these words as a call to action, and we're seeing that there is a direct correlation between the political rhetoric and the increase in violence. We see it each and every day, whether it takes the form of violent protests or a targeted attack against political leadership.
President Trump is attending the FIFA World Cup today at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Yeah. How is safety going to be ramped up there around his visit?
Yeah, well, it's already declared a special event by the Department of Homeland Security, so tons of additional federal resources are already participating in the overall security plan before the president even announced that he would be going. It is a last-minute announcement, but the enhancements are going to be significant to provide the president a safe environment to enjoy the soccer match.
Chuck, I've got less than 30 seconds. You have faith that the Secret Service will make the changes necessary to adequately protect the commander-in-chief?
I do. I think they have shifted their priorities. They need to keep the main thing, and that is the safety and security of those that they protect, including the president. And as long as they do that and they provide the appropriate resources with the appropriate oversight to ensure that these protection plans are comprehensive and thorough, they'll be fine. And I have trust in the new leadership there.
Charles Marino, thanks again for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Nick.
More on Mr. Trump's attempted assassination. Watch our special tonight called The Plot to Kill Trump 1 year later, hosted by NewsNation's Brian Enton at 9 p.m. Eastern only on NewsNation. What are we still learning about the shooter, a straight-A student to would-be assassin, and why wasn't he on the authorities' radar before firing those deadly shots? A congressional task force member joins us live to discuss. Plus, an eyewitness just feet from the stage recounts what she heard from Secret Service members huddled over Mr. Trump after those shots were fired. Make sure you catch that report tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Democratic California Congressman John Garamendi joins us next on the ICE raid at Los Angeles farms that caused a chaotic standoff between protesters and officers and left one farm worker dead.
NewsNation is news for all Americans.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Sadly, windshield chips can turn into windshield cracks. But at least you can go to safelight.com and schedule a fix in minutes. With flexible payment options, get it fixed now and pay later, only at safelight.com.
Why are you wearing uncomfortable jeans when you could be wearing Mugsy jeans? One of our thousands of 5-star reviews said, "These jeans feel like rolling around in a puddle of puppies." Head to Mugsy.com to get your first pair of the most comfortable jeans ever worn.
Honey?
Wait, what?
With COVID-19 and my heart disease, I'm not going to wait. If it's COVID, Paxlovid.
Paxlovid is an oral treatment for adults with mild to moderate COVID-19 and a high risk factor for it becoming severe. It does not prevent COVID-19.
My symptoms are mild now. I'm not risking it.
Paxlovid must be taken within the first 5 days of symptoms and helps stop the virus from multiplying in your body. Taking Paxlovid with certain medicines can lead to serious or life-threatening side effects or affect how it or other medicines work, including hormonal birth control. Tell your doctor about all medicines, vitamins, and herbal supplements you take, as certain tests or dosage changes of your other medicines may be needed. Tell them if you have kidney or liver problems, HIV-1, are or plan to be pregnant, or breastfeed. Don't take Paxlovid if allergic to its ingredients. Stop taking and call your doctor right away if you have allergic reaction symptoms. Serious side effects can include allergic reactions, some severe like anaphylaxis and liver problems. These are not all the possible side effects, so talk to your doctor.
If it's COVID, Paxlovid.
Ask your doctor today.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
If you're living with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis or active psoriatic arthritis, symptoms can sometimes hold you back. But now, there's Skyrizi, so you can be all in with clearer skin.
Things are getting clearer, I feel free to bear my skin, yeah, that's on me. Nothing is everything.
With Skyrizi, you can show up with dramatically clearer skin. And if you have psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi can help you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything.
Nothing is everything.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Hey guys, I'm Larsa Pippen. Welcome to my home. Before I chose the marble, the lighting, or the furniture, I made sure my home had its Aroma 360 signature scent. My Aroma 360 connects to my home HVAC, filling every room with seamless, luxurious fragrances. Fragrance was the first decision I made because I wanted my home to feel like a 5-star hotel. Aroma 360, scented wellness first, design second.
HomeAglow just cleaned my entire house for $19. Seriously, $19. They showed up right on time, did my dishes, my laundry, they even cleaned my windows. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19. I love using HomeAglow, and I think you will too.
I can feel the winds of change. An uptick in raids throughout the country are leading to some standoffs between protesters and ICE.
This week, federal agents raided 2 Southern California legal cannabis farms, arresting 200 people suspected of being illegal immigrant workers. Joining me now to discuss is Democratic Congressman from California, John Garamendi. Mr. Garamendi, good afternoon, sir.
Indeed.
I have to ask you, the raid at a legal cannabis farm in your state led to some violence between protesters and ICE. Do you think we will keep seeing these types of confrontations? And do you think this needs to change? And what do we need to change in order to see a de-escalation?
Well, you just used the right word, de-escalation. I believe these protests are likely to continue, not just because they are raiding a particular farm, but rather in the way in which they appear at these various locations. They're in full military garb. They have vests on for protection, masks, and carrying very heavy weapons, shotguns, assault rifles, and the like, often appearing out of nowhere. This one, obviously, from the photos that you see here, was well known ahead of time, and the protesters did arrive. But it has shaken up the entire nation. This is not just a California issue in the way in which the ICE raids are being conducted. And they're also targeting individuals based upon their ethnic appearance, color of their skin, maybe the clothes that they're wearing. If they appear to be workers, construction workers, or field workers, those people are being targeted without any apparent information about who they are other than what they are wearing, where they happen to be. What really needs to happen here is for this whole thing to back off a bit. Clearly, there are people that are illegal in this country, many of them farm workers or construction workers. Where are they being identified? Well, church, schools, in this case at the fields. So bottom line of this is there needs to be a different way of dealing with this. First of all, these men and the ICE agents need to be properly identified. They really ought to be wearing a body cam, as every other police agency in the nation does wear a body cam. And also, they ought not be hiding their appearance behind a mask. If they're doing the appropriate thing with a body cam, why do they have to have a mask? Why are they fearful of being identified? Other police officers in this very same video are properly identified, and they are wearing a body cam. We have legislation to deal with this, both in the Senate and in the House. And so ICE is about to become the largest police agency in America. The $170 billion that is in the reconciliation bill will create ICE as the largest police agency. They need to adopt standard police practices. And when they conduct their raids, or wrong word, when they conduct their work, it ought to be done in a way that does not appear to be a raid, does not appear to be signaling out people because of their skin color or the clothes that they are wearing, but rather do it professionally.
And Congressman Garamendi, there's been a lot of focus, too, on the threats to elected officials. Vice President J.D. Vance and his family spotted on a weekend trip to Disneyland. The VP's trip drawing some unwanted attention from protesters on Saturday. Demonstrators gathering outside the theme park this weekend amid the Trump administration's immigration crackdown that we just talked about. Your governor taking a swipe at J.D. Vance on social media. In a post, Governor Newsom says, "Hope you enjoy your family time. The families you're tearing apart certainly won't." Congressman, Governor Newsom's post follows a ruling from a federal judge ordering the Trump administration to end the indiscriminate arrest of immigrants in California ICE raids. Do you believe that Governor Newsom overstepped with that tweet?
Well, we're in a situation now in this nation in which protests about the various things that the Trump administration is doing, and immigration is just one, those protests are going to be, and have in the recent months, been part of the American scene. As long as those protests are peaceful, and that is peaceful in every way, not blocking traffic, they're on the side of the streets, not blocking passage, and not calling out for violence in any way, that is appropriate. That is actually protected by the First Amendment, the right to petition the government. So That should be expected. The Trump administration is engaged in many, many activities that are creating considerable concern or great concern across this nation. ICE raids being just one of those. And so the president, as well as the vice president, and frankly, Democrats or Republicans should expect to be greeted by protesters when we are out and about. Now, I'll repeat, peaceful, lawful protests, not any that are violent in any way, not appropriate. Peaceful protests, absolutely part of the American scene, as we have seen from the very first days of our democracy and down through the ages to this moment. You're showing pictures here of people that appear to be peacefully protesting Vice President Vance's trip to Disneyland. He should expect that. All of us in public life should expect that to be part of our everyday life.
Democratic California Congressman John Garamendi, thank you so much. Say hello to the folks in Vallejo for me.
I certainly will do so.
Sir, have a good afternoon. The new Superman film is smashing box office expectations and soaring towards a huge box office opening.